All right, why don't we just go ahead and get started? What the heck?
Mhm.
Ian, do you want to go first?
Sure.
So, as you guys know, Ian is the author of one full-length poetry book and a couple of chapbooks. And the full-length one from Ugly Duckling is called Forget Thee. And it's quite a delight to read. I love it. I read it in one night I guess, probably a year ago it came out, right? Or
A
longer
little more,
than
yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, Ian Dreiblatt, take it away, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Uh, this is so nice. I'm happy to see some of my favorite kids here and some of my favorite people here. I'm super psyched to be reading with you, Eric. I've been a huge fan of Eric's writing since I read The Two Sound, which I guess is almost probably about 20 years now. So it's um so this is I'm really psyched. Also I have really nothing special to say about it, but it seems I just want to acknowledge that the American poetry lost like one of its most luminous writers yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
And I have really nothing special to say about Lynn Higinian that somebody else couldn't say better, but just seems worth acknowledging because it's been sort of jarring. Uh,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Um, so I'm gonna read some poems. In my backyard in Brooklyn. Thanks for showing up on Zoom. I hope that you're all like never mind. I hope everybody's having comfortable. I hope you're all very comfortable. Okay. I'm gonna start. I didn't write this poem. I sort of wrote this poem, but it's Boris Pasternak wrote it in Russian and then I translated it into English. It's called February. I often read it when I do readings in February. I think the only thing that might be worth saying, if you don't know the word grivna, it's like a unit of currency. It's like a coin. A grivna comes up in the poem. February. It's February. Grab a pen. Cry. Write. Wail about February while the clamoring slush burns on the back of spring. Call a cab. 6 grivnas, some church bells, and a screech of the wheels later. There you are, where the noise of rain drowns out ink and tears, where thousands of rooks drop from the trees like charcoal pears, landing in puddles, dry sorrow to the bottoms of eyes. Under it, the ground blackens in patches of thaw, wind dug up, screeching. The more random the poems we wail out, the better. Um, thanks, Boris. Unfortunately, I wrote the rest of these. So I'm going to read some that I wrote. This is called "Which Animal Would You Rather Be?" Listen, say what you want about my scruples vis-a-vis hostage taking, embattled sense of tone, color, melody, inability to navigate a suburban noodle menu, inexplicable indebtedness to the lyric soprano, but the record will show I can still wreck a barbecue. The teeth that were metal in your mouth become stones in my belly. There are, as we know, 5 kinds of metaphor. The small star that falls onto the roof, the giant wing that holds off invaders, distances brazed in seawater, Robocop, the turning of the seasons. What once I said deliberatively, melismatically, in the long enfolding skirt of cyclical time, I now say with the clipped astonishment of a newly drafted chaplain. Oh, lift him up, that's all. Circuit gleams like bad advice. I'm so ashamed that I lived in a world of salt and suddenly after all these years just finally managed to hack the spectral authority of our thirst, as if to say awakened in or only knew the gifts of but a displacement, sapling liturgy while something to walk through with a colander on your head and a matrix of unreconstructed varmint tailing you through non-Euclidean battlefields. This is how we crazed the wall just before we boiled the sea. As I was reading that, I had the thought, I wonder if my neighbors like poetry, because I'm in the middle of Brooklyn in my backyard. Probably somebody in their backyard could hear me. Well, hope so. This poem is called "The Truth About Complicity." It has an epigraph uh, from the rapper Despot, who I really like. Green means go, red means go. Woke up this morning looking everywhere for the dialectic, har, har, har. We splashed through the spilled vinegar of history. No big thing. Life is one of the grossest experiences you can have, but we press on with it. Organized revolt, armed insurrection, flight to the forest. Just reach into our grab bag of affects and pull out centrifugal grief, poignant certainty, the glib cheer of, say, car washes or the Super Mario movie. All we're really saying here is we must attend to the dynamics. Rejection of ill treatment, an innate quest for freedom, crisis in the economic system and its political implications. Donkey Kong slowly shakes his head and throws an invisible barrel at lines of continuity yet to be established. This poem is called Annette Peacock. I'm a big fan of the singer Annette Peacock, and it contains both historical persons and fictional entities. Annette Peacock. Barbara Giraffe, Martin Egret, Allison Hippopotamus, Nadezhda Goat, Lose My Body, Shake the Hell, Thurston Wildebeest, Omar Snake, Priscilla Lioness, Zainab Elephant, Herman Gorilla, Margaret Octopus, Start a Band, Flung in Joy, Steve Swallow, Creature Palette, Arthur Weird Bug, Patricia Mole, Cry Any Name, Shoshana Starfish, Endless Spider, My Pony, Your Pony. It is awkward. Zoom is an awkward reading situation because there's total silence. You know, you're
Yeah, I know. I keep wanting to like unmute myself to giggle. So
yeah, but I mean, I don't know that I'm not asking people necessarily to do that, but it's off-putting. Okay. This poem has a title that I found on the internet. It's called Stop Trying to Promote Food and Get a Job. Oh, and this is one of those poems that has a quote from Jesus in it. So if you're really up on your Jesus, well, my kid is saying my pony. I love you, laugh. Yeah, so if you're really up on your Jesus, you might catch a Jesus quote in here. Start with what you know, which is to say, start with the scenery. Time-dipped and nearly overwhelming curvature of out and abased pigment drop a prorated larynx in the foothills of what every town in the prefecture is called. Nothing is certain, but there were two approaching on horseback. Of course, I must reject these hot dogs, for I am French and just bursting to share the obscene infinite secret that only everybody knows. Neither the mountain nor the city, neither speeding ticket nor endless sad cistern, neither cockamamie acres reaching for miles in their immodest hunger, nor ruined temple that turns out after you climb 6,000 steps to be a ruined temple. I flicked ash and said, ahoy, comrades. If you meet a pear with teeth, then you must reject it. Old machinery will essay the perfection of your schemes. Ancient snowdrifts will kiss the small of your back. A couple more? A few more? I forgot to set a timer, so I have absolutely no idea how long I've been
No,
doing
you're
this.
good. Get plenty of time.
Okay. This poem is called Dogs Dream of Meat and the Dreams Are Delicious, which is a line from a cartoon in the old psychedelic days of Sesame Street that I really like. There's little dog heads dreaming of meat that fly by as they sing it. And I think it's true. I believe that that is exactly a true statement. Disavowal is the sincerest form of flattery, a retrofit clambake poised on the knife's edge of the creatural. You find yourself careening amid the papal musks of a complete breakfast, steamily parsing whistle from dog, seething under insect decline, a last definitional human shittiness. A word like ekphrasis is so pointless, maybe. We feel the limitations of experience in everything we do. Oh, oblique tourniquet, ha ha ha. Materiality makes no sense, and yet inane bigots use it to rule us terribly. How great, though, to have a word for unwanted plants, to be the newest cadre on the dance floor, weep paste while a spry consigliere praises sleep like fresh bread, blemishless. All across the fabric of whatever, consciousnesses swirl in and out, crystal surf as deep as playlists. Exemplary disease mistaken for celebrity disease, there may or may not be language. What there are for sure are languages. Amid the sullen rattle of ziggurats, you carry a transfigured bird to the exact center of the city, while sentinels ardent with copyright close in from perimeter. A tenuous anyone, shipwrecked on Sibboleth, the pigeons of our lax spoken endlessly down the fun way. I'm gonna skip this one. Sometimes you gotta skip one, you know? Okay. I was really I'm very grateful to the Baffler magazine for publishing this one. It's called Sometimes I Think I'm Falling Apart. It has two epigraphs. The first is from Robert G. Song-koo, who wrote, "To many, spam is the epitome of horror in a can, a filthy amalgam of discarded orts of industrial animal slaughter and sinister chemical additives that require a doctorate in chemistry or necromancy to decipher, a noxious culinary miscreant." And then a second epigraph from Nikita Khrushchev, who wrote, "Without spam, we wouldn't have been able to feed our army. We had lost our most fertile lands." So that's, even if you don't like the poems, you probably learned something about spam, unless you already had read those books. The jargons of symbolic hatred are doing a lot of heavy lifting here in the submerged. Sorry, let me start again. The jargons of symbolic hatred are doing a lot of heavy lifting here in the submerged halftime of plaint versus luxury. Scrimshaw supplicants, but hurtling toward a very small jug. Please just smooth this ointment for me. Please acknowledge the rope that makes the sails work. Clarion thou, though. The word is taught as a substitute for a facial expression or gesture. I don't know, spork blossom, pilfer camp. Oblique edges haunt the villa. The grammar our bodies have despite our work to obliterate grammar. Glow of luggage as it returns to mere cargodom. Banks glisten in the dream of a zero-party state. Banks glisten in the dream of wading into infinite solubility and walking through hole in their thirst and their dollar store flip-flops. Dark life swarms, even dentists have enemies. Long, long ago now, body cavalry search. Hurry up, chief. Follow that dingus. Oh. There's another short one called The Myth of the End of the World. This is dedicated to the wonderful poet Louis Friedman, who has a beautiful book called I Want Something Other Than Time. I so strongly recommend if you haven't read it. Okay, so let there be a pedal point, in thought a sustained tone that other thoughts can come and go, gut bucket back to thread and thread to fiber, spirit of the shack. I tell Lewis, well, I also want something other than time, and then wonder, did I write a poem by doing it? The myth of the end of the world is a big, stupid tree. Let me be both record and instrument, flame and felicity, realize only now the weird perfume, this thinking's dowry. I woke up in the bathtub all like, why push away a barge whose already proximity a gift in the blue mouth of drifting constantly upwards? Honestly, what are poets even talking about? I mean, I love us, but know the end, know the world, know the carbon surround threading an aurelia of after which not. Geo barricades, a heap of mattresses, smoldering obscenity settles, but also just as a very incoherent person who sometimes also needs to be loved, wrap it up, I'll take it. Okay, maybe like a couple more, not a lot more, but a few more. Maybe, I think it's 4 more, but some of them are very short. Okay. This poem also has a title that's just a true statement. Bridge building is sacred because a river's will is holy. I walk in flower like the alphabet of pontifical sunlight of huntsman's belts, and everything okay about being soft or hard just sort of floats there. Pleasure mutant versus the mutant of history, or the remembrance of surprises flattering itself into music. This poem is called Gonad City, or The People's Beef. Just try it. No sooner will you write the words, the purpose of poetry is, than an acquaintance in Italy sends you a photo of the local condom vending machine, a slab of groovy aqua with fake computer cursive scrawled across the top, feel, make, feel. Well, anyone could have told you that, but it's hard to hold a grudge against that swaying teen republic, even after all the shit they've pulled, forcing their way into half the world's mouths. We feel this even in English, where a lovable, stupid word like twath has been greased out by second, or cheese gassed up all out of proportion. Some several causations, but I mean there always are. That's the nature of history. Party's over before you get there. Lagoons slowly rising to eat the shards of what was an absolute rager. All right, one more or two more?
Two more. What the heck?
Two more? But yeah, but see, when you say that, then everybody has to say two more. More exactly because you want one more, and you have to hide that you want one more, so you say two more. Should never make it somebody else's problem. This poem is called I Mean Most Milk Happens in Galaxies, which is once again, as far as I know, true. Beautiful moon, I love you. Mysterious longing, I carve my forked name into your lashes. Sweeping despondency, I drive amid your paisley throb. Laryngitis, I sew a line of yarn across your bread. Our failures of imagination are failures of justice. Sweet tooth as syntax, build a commons, frontiers squealing surplus. It's my nature to become unsure. We live like everyone else, but like one isn't supposed to live. No more involuntary art. No more waking up spatula in hand to walk down, 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 down. Sweet prurience, I glue things to driftwood in the warmth of your distraction. Dislocation, I streak my eyes with cinnabar. Counterpoint, I tarry in the microphone's filth. Delusion, you seem rich. I mean, you live like a very rich person. Revolt against the continuity of curves. A successful emotional niche requires appropriate intensity calibration. All scary, no spice. All aga, no memnon. Reverie clicks its tongue. A particular indecision, a beach ball, a wrench. Oh, please come away with me. We can shed all parts of speech and slow melt our vowels back into the pyramid. Okay, I'm gonna read one more. This one doesn't have a title. I think it's the only thing I read that didn't have a title, despite my total inability to give things titles. This has an epigraph from the Bible, from 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 26 through 27. And Jerusalem's being invaded, and the Aramaic speaking the Babylonian army comes. And this is the scene. As they come, they arrive on the wall and they meet the Hebrew generals. Then Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, and Shebna and Joah said to the field commander, please speak to your servants in Aramaic, since we understand it. Don't speak to us in Hebrew in the hearing of the people on the wall. But the commander replied, was it only to your master and you that my master sent me to say these things, and not to the people on the wall, who like you will have to eat their own shit and drink their own piss? It's a little bit intense, maybe. The marvels blink their eyes across a scrub of gargling feature. The evening, finally cool, pleats itself into the shape of a good time we know how to have, or something. How caught in the radiance of innuendo, seductive politics of the carpool, drab colloquy, or curved hustle, but the point is you'd walk into a lot of rooms. Inexplicably or too explicably, there's no general strike. Spill paratactic cyanide or miraged endeavor, affinities hopping the fence. We language each other and everything happens. Animatronic party congress in the year of epidemic fire. Amazingly, one can hardly notice the complete breakdown of societally crucial systems, adaptively rerouting around the hulk of a prior living, inky hip flying at what's only later revealed as an exit. In this incarnation, the job of poets is to dig a wound in whatever sense suffuses the world of police and capital. To know poetry can only resist, never disrupt their regimes of power, and that a wound is a hungry book, the poem a social feeling, actual power a face that comes through the wall. Or that's what I think of you and your squandered Beetlejuice. Blink twice for a religious evasion, eat salted earth, cradle and vex, fish and battery, ecumenical corners embracing dimension. Delta Squadron to base, the whole place is a shithole. Charosis all over the highway. We're going to have to fight this, and it's going to take everything we've got. Thank you so much for being here. Free Palestine. Hooray.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ian. All that stuff, all that was like mostly new stuff.
Mostly pretty new, some a couple years
Yeah.
old.
I
All
can't
from
wait
the
to-
manuscript I've been working on for a couple years now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all that stuff on the page. It's just
Oh, thanks, man.
when it's flying by, it's just like, whoa, what did he say?